Well, happy Monday, everybody. We're live on
Yo.
the Legend Network. I'm here with Yo.
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me now? I can hear you.
I can hear
All
you.
right.
That's Joe Tarduff in the upper right-hand square, and we're joined by Malpal and Mitch at the bottom. Malpal on the left and Mitch on the right. Hello, everybody. We're here for our weekly Monday hour and a half to 2 hour discussion of baseball.
90 minutes.
90 minutes. We shoot for 90 minutes.
90 minutes is enough, isn't it?
Well, last week went 2 hours, and I think it went 2 hours in a very natural way.
But
You
2
know,
hours. 2 hours is too long. 90 minutes is the optimum amount of time, I think. That's just me.
It's a little bit of an icebreaker here. It's like, you guys know that I not only do a baseball show, I do a trivia show, and I'm in this trivia league. And there was a question in my trivia league, and this is what I'm going to pose to you. You guys know the answer to it, but I'm going to ask you a question afterwards. The question was, somebody in baseball started a game at pitcher, was the first guy to start the game at pitcher, leading the league in home runs since Babe Ruth. Who was that person? The question isn't who is that person. The question to you guys is, what percentage of trivia nerds knew the answer was Shohei Ohtani? What do you think?
5.
You're giving him a lot less credit than I would.
I think it's a lot more than you think. His name is pretty.
I was just telling him that in my trivia league, Andrea, there was a question where the answer was Shohei Ohtani. To give you an idea how popular Shohei Ohtani is among trivia nerds, what percentage got the answer right? And the percentage was, the question was, who was the first pitcher to lead the league in home runs while starting a game since Babe Ruth? Among a trivia group that includes people like we have
Ohtani.
Ken Jennings. Yeah, the answer is Ohtani. We all know that, but in the other world, non-baseball, the question is how many people actually know who Ohtani is? And in a trivia league that includes the likes of people like Ken Jennings is in that group, 40% got it right, 60% got it wrong. So he hasn't really crossed over into the mainstream.
You had Ken Jennings in the group with you?
It is a premier invite only.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool, though.
Yeah, no, I my trivia bona fides are actually better than my baseball bona fides, believe it or not. But no, and I'm in the same league with it's a stacked rank league like European soccer. You get relegated, moved up and moved down, and I'm in the top level, where of course you would say Ken Jennings is. Though Ken Jennings did take this particular season off. Anyway, that was my little icebreaker. The world doesn't know how great Shohei Ohtani is. I thought that was pretty interesting.
I can't even remember who my first girlfriend was, much less this trivia stuff.
When I have my first girlfriend, I'll tell you about her.
Okay.
Oh, you haven't? Okay. I know you've been married a couple times, but so.
Yeah, but I've never had a girlfriend.
I was only 2 minutes late.
You've had 2 wives but no girlfriends, right?
Three wives with no girlfriends.
But no girlfriends.
Exactly.
Okay. Let me know.
Girlfriends
When you
are
find
more
out.
fun than wives.
They're more fun?
They're definitely cheaper.
Could be.
I don't know. It depends. Okay. Today, Alec Manoa got called up, you guys. That's what I'm reading in the chat room. I didn't actually see the news, so I hope that Daniel's telling the truth. I only can say that I think.
It was about 20 minutes ago.
Okay.
Daniel's a fairly trustworthy dude.
Manoa's been doing
Andy,
excellent.
you didn't ask me why I'm so happy.
Why are you so happy?
Vladdy's carrying my team in a money league on his back. Vladdy is carrying my team. He's got the highest WAR in Major League Baseball.
He does? That's
Yes.
really good. Look, he did a great job putting effort into getting his body into the best shape that he could, and he really, took control of that, and it's really great. It's paying off for him and your team. I'm happy for you. Because the other rookies, he's not a rookie anymore. That's the thing. He's not a rookie anymore. He's already had his rookie time.
That's right.
Well, you guys know Alec Manoa, right? Mr. Toronto pitcher that I've been watching. He was excellent in spring. That's how I started to watch him. And he was on fire at AAA, and he will be, he'll be pitching in the rotation in Toronto. let's just go around the table. If you know, like, if you like him, if you have any insight on him, or if you're willing to put him on your team. Matt
Yeah.
Powell?
I haven't really been following him except for starting about 3 weeks ago. But he sounds like he's going to start Wednesday night
Against the Yankees.
against the Yankees. I would.
First start.
If you're in a league where you can't stash him, but he's available, I'd probably pick him up. If you can stash him and he's available, I'd pick him up and stash him. But I'm imagining in most leagues he's picked up already, right?
One thing I'll say is that he's, like, before spring training, he was just super inexperienced, and still is really, but both of his starts at AAA or this season so far at the minor league level, he's pitching 6 innings, which I always look at to see how many innings these pitchers are going to be able to go when they get up here. Douglas, what do you know about Manoa?
The only thing that I was trying to look it up real quick, but I couldn't get it. But I remember he kind of shot up during spring training because he had some really incredible numbers. Like, I only pitched like 12 or so innings, but he struck out like 2 batters an inning all through spring training. And if you went through who he was facing, he wasn't facing the scrubs. He had a pretty good rating at who he was facing, so he jumped up a good deal. He is, in most leagues I'm in, somewhat available. I mean, maybe things changed today because of the news, but he wasn't as picked up as like Kalenic or God, who was the other guy? The other really big, Kirilloff or one of the, or Vaughn or those guys. So he might be out there in some places. Will I pick him up? I don't know. And rookies are tough in like short leagues, 12, 10 team leagues, because you got to be pretty darn good. And it's like, I think of comparing him to like Shane McClanahan, who's got some great stuff, but he just doesn't pitch enough to merit a starting role over other pitchers that are out there. But in a deep league, yeah, he would be a guy that, why not take a chance on? Maybe he bucks the trend and pitches 70 innings from here on out. I
mean, he's a guy who throws super hard. It looks like he strikes out a ton of guys.
Mm-hmm.
But it's probably 50-50. You get to the major leagues and you can blow a 98-mile-an-hour fastball by a AAA guy, but it's really all about location in the big leagues. So we'll see. I don't know. For the risky guy who wants to take a little risk, sure.
Joe?
He got snagged up week 2 in our dynasty league just to see his potential. Week 2, he was picked up.
Yeah. Okay.
He's got three pitches, good control, throws upper 90s, I believe. I think in 2019 someone did pick him up and dropped him, and then COVID, nobody really could do anything because we took a year off of our dynasty league. So week 2, someone snagged him an hour before I got him.
Hi, George. Nice to see you. And Douglas is here, and I don't know. Daniel was here, but he's back. Anyway, George wants to add his name to a fantasy team, Manoa's Ark. That's a good name for a fantasy team.
It's not bad.
Alec Manoa's Ark. Okay. Adam Wainwright. I don't know what to do with this guy. I thought it'd be a good topic of conversation just to get your opinions like in the beginning. So I want you to answer a couple questions about Adam Wainwright. Like, I put his game log in the rundown but I just didn't know what to do with him today because I'm like, I've already dropped him, picked him up. I'm frustrated. He will pitch 8 innings and he'll have just like a gem of an outing. And then the next day he will go out and it seems like for no rhyme or reason, he just gets shelled. So if you have him on your team, that's good. If not, and you could just, let's say you did, how do you decide which teams to put them up against? Is it like their defense? Is it their record? Is it like, what are the things that you look at to decide? Start with you, Mitchell.
I have the answer. You only start him at home in Busch Stadium. I started him. I take him out of the lineup. I took him out this week when he's on the road. You only start him at home. He's all unhittable at Busch Stadium. I can't think of anybody with bigger home road splits than Adam Wainwright. So I've had him all year long. He's helped me, but if I put him in my lineup when he's on the road, he'll get bombed.
So do you tend to always look like if you had a pitcher on your team that's similar to Adam Wainwright in that you never know when he's going to have like a blow up outing? Do you always look at home road splits? Is that one thing that you?
Pablo Lopez is the same one, same deal.
Yeah.
Pablo
Yeah, he
Lopez
is.
is two different pitchers. He's one
Exactly.
pitcher in Miami, and he's another pitcher on the road.
For sure. Douglas?
I own Adam Wainwright in a number of leagues, and a lot of leagues I'm in are weekly lineup leagues. So you don't have the choice of moving in and out, and so I just start him because the truth is, at the end of the year, when I drafted him, I wasn't expecting Jake DeGrom numbers. I was expecting a guy that gave me a lot of innings, with a lot of innings, a good number of strikeouts, an ERA in that like 3.6, 3.7 range, which I still think he'll wind up there eventually. And you take it to the bed. I remember what was it, 2 weeks ago, he had a 2-start week, and the first start on Monday, he let up like 6 runs, right?
Yeah.
And the second start on Sunday, he pitched a 8.2. I think he pitched a complete game loss where he let up 1. So overall for the week, it was a decent week. His ERA for the week was 3.45, right? Okay.
Well, so you're just hoping he evens himself out.
But I think that it's the nature of when you're in roto leagues is that people will even themselves out. You're going for the whole thing at the end, and
Yeah.
I think he'll have more good games than bad. What Mitch said about him being very good at home is an important note, but he isn't always bad on the road. He just has those bad games there.
Okay, Joe, have any Wainwright shares?
I have none, and I do not want to own any of them.
Okay,
Yeah,
now
It's just not worth the gamble to figure out the start, and I don't like pitchers that can't throw 90. It just doesn't work now.
I also would say like the choice if I wanted to bench Wainwright or to cut him, guys on the waiver wire in those 15-team leagues are guys like I really looked at it this week. I'm like, would I rather keep Wainwright or Martin Perez? It's not like
Perez is having a great year.
He is having a great year, but that's the kind of choice you have. It's not like there's not like the guy that you're going to replace him with is that much better than him. It's like Martin Perez is having a better year than Wainwright, but Wainwright's a better pitcher than Martin Perez.
But let me ask you this. If you were in a head-to-head league or a points league, would that make a difference to you? Or like, let's say you could your pitchers around daily, because I think that what you're explaining to me is coming from the point of view of a year-long category roto league where you make weekly moves, and so you just leave them in.
In a head-to-head league, you want 2 start pitchers to the maximum.
In points leagues, I think Wainwright's an automatic start because the volume that he's going to give you is going to make up for whatever bad stuff happens. Because volume covers a lot of stuff. The fact that he pitches 7, 8 innings versus guys that pitch 5 innings allows him to allow about 2 more runs a week.
Okay. Malpal.
Well, this year
he does. Sorry, I'll let you go.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say he does pitch a sufficient amount of innings, so even if he has a bad outing, it kind of like evens out. But I've had him in where he's getting -4. It's not that big of a deal, but it's a big disappointment when you could have had like Martin Perez, and Go ahead, Malpal.
I was just going to say this year I'm not in any head-to-head league, and I'm only in one league where we really have a bench. So when I was looking at this question, I'm either all in on Wainwright with like my 18th round pick, so my expectations are very low, or I'm cutting him because I don't know if we knew that he was going to suck against Team X in his next start. Wouldn't the manager know that? I mean, we just don't know. So for my philosophy is you go into these things at the beginning of the year, especially in a yearly, league where it's not head-to-head. You he's going to have ups and downs, and that's why he's being drafted in the 18th round. So I try not to overthink. Because every time I overthink, I learned I always make the wrong decision. So I just let it roll. That's what I do.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at his game log, you can't really see a big. I agree with Mitchell though. I like your answer where you said at home or on the road it does matter for him. But there's games where like he comes out, he gets 50 DraftKings points and he gets a loss. Or there's times when he pitches like 5 innings, gives up 5 runs and gets a win. That's just how wins are in fantasy. But I think that I put him on the bench because listen to this, Malpal, trying this. Lamette and Weathers in my in my active roster with Weathers qualifies as a reliever already. So I have him and I have another starter that's a relief pitcher qualifies. Anyway, I have Lamette and Weathers in my roster. So I'm thinking maybe they'll put Lamette in more than just once every 5 days if he's only going to pitch a couple innings, and he could totally sneak in some wins. Love what they're doing in San Diego with their rotation. What do you know, they have 20 games without a break coming up, so I want to know, Malpal, how are you feeling?
My guess is they're going to go to a modified 6-man rotation. Lamette has been really filthy, and I think they extended him out. Was that Saturday night or was it Sunday? I think he went 4 or 5 innings. So I think they need him back in the rotation, and I think that's where he ends up. If he's healthy, of course.
Do you like what they're doing with Lamette and Weathers right now? I mean, I think I just really like it. I think that it's worked
out pretty good for sure. But I think they view Lamette as a starter who could be like a top 5 starter in the National League. So I don't think they're going to hold him back if they think he's healthy.
Yeah. Players are voicing their. Did I get to everybody on the Wainwright and all that? Does anybody have anything else to say before we go on to?
I'm good.
You're good.
Let's talk about the illegal substances on the ball. So they said in baseball, they said we're going to start testing these balls. Well, they didn't say who they were going to test, but they basically said that they sent a memo out saying that it doesn't matter if you get caught dropping the ball in the game or if we find out after we test the balls, you'll still have to do a punishment. But there's been 0 punishments put forth in baseball to any pitcher, and the players are starting to talk, and the managers are talking, the coaches are talking. Everybody is talking about why in the world are we even here? Because this is like, you know, G2 Real Mutual came out and said that why don't we just let the hitters do steroids and then they'll be on an even playing field? I know that you guys all are like updated on this because Mitchell is the one that brought this subject up. So I'm going to start with you, Mitchell. What do you think is causing the lack of hitting? Because the average is like less than it's ever been. And, you know, they're getting hit more too, though. So it's obviously not like making the grip better.
I will start with the shift.
Okay.
The shift fundamentally changed baseball. There's an experiment going on right now. Either I think AA, I might be wrong, where the infielders cannot go off the dirt.
Yeah.
It's making a difference in singles, in doubles. We need to get rid of the shift by midnight tonight and stop around. No, seriously, you asked me a question. I'm giving you my opinion.
I love it.
Chris David. My heart goes out to that kid. I know that everybody says he's ripping the Orioles off. They destroyed that man. Now, you could argue, well, your mission, Chris Davis, is to learn to hit the ball to the third base side of the field. Well, he's a pull hitter. It's probably easier to say that than to do that. But I will tell you, we should be watching the experiment that's going on right now where the infielders have to stay their short butts on the dirt and play baseball the way it's been played in the American Legion teams, in the BIB. It's been played by the kids for centuries, where the infielders are not out in middle in left field, 50 feet in front of the right field. Right field and 50 feet in front of the right field. You can't get a base hit. When you put an infielder out in the grass, but between the dirt and the right fielder, how are you going to get a base hit ever?
By hitting it to the other side where nobody is. That's how you do it. Wait.
It's not working. It's not working. You asked me. It's not working. Okay.
Well, when I used to play baseball, we just turned our bodies like a little bit, we just literally we turned our bodies and put our feet
They
little planted.
weren't throwing with the velocity and the breaking stuff that they're throwing now. These pitchers used to have, how many pitches did they have in the 1960s? Two
Yeah.
or three?
This substance use on the ball is
Gaylord Perry did that 40 years ago. There's nothing new about that.
So you don't think that it has anything to do with the stuff on the ball? They've been doing it for years.
No, it can help. It can help with your grip. But what I'm saying, it's nothing new. This has been going on since Christ was a corporal.
Okay, but what about the spin rate, where the spin rate has literally doubled since
That's
became a thing?
because of the threads on the baseball that are
Okay.
elevated. My opinion.
Okay. Well, okay. So one of the things is that maybe I really believe that they feel like it increased movement on the fastball.
You're getting better spin.
Okay. Douglas, how are you feeling about what's your opinion on why this is happening and what?
I was, to be honest, I was a little bit taken back because I didn't think it was that big of a deal. I know I've heard things in the back of my mind, but whenever there's really a problem, the Major League Baseball usually does something, although whatever they do is fairly anemic. Like, like they were investigating Trevor Bauer, but then they sort of dropped it because they like to like throw out some guy as sort of a sacrificial lamb and say, okay, we found the problem, it's over. Like they did with, people were stealing signs. We found the Astros. Now it's done. Like signs like wasn't happening before and isn't still happening. You know, we kick out Colton Welker for using steroids, and we go, see, we're still policing that stuff, but they haven't done anything. So when I'm reading this up, I'm like, wow, it's pretty amazing. It's there, and like I think that when you're playing a game to win, you try to get every legal advantage, and anything that they'll let you do, you do. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying I understand why they do it. If the league thought it was a problem, the real question to me is why are they doing nothing about it?
Well, they say that before they can really change the system or like determine what to do, they say that they need more time to collect data. They say that there's probably not even going to be any tangible results till 2022. But they think the writer of this article at The Athletic was saying, it came across like he thought they were like keeping track behind the scenes. And so whenever they're ready, they could just like throw the bomb on a pitcher and be like, we've been watching you do this like every day.
If I were in combat with a commissioner of baseball in combat infantry, hand-to-hand infantry, by the time they made up their minds what to do, we'd be overrun by Viet Cong.
I thought you were going to say you would shoot him in the back and then just let him die on the field.
No, Dick Cheney does that.
Well, no, it happens in war.
What?
Why are batters striking out so much? Does that have anything to do with the substances on the ball?
They're striking out because they get more money
if they hit it hard.
Home runs.
Yeah, it's a combination of things are creating this world we're in, and that's the problem. Is like the real question is the underlying thing is like, is a baseball league where the batting average is 240 and doubles and home runs are down, is that good for the game? And the answer is probably no.
Well, you got to remember the new ball had more vertical and horizontal movement this year. That was the big test that they did.
That's exactly right, Joe.
They brought that up in the testing during spring training and so far. So there is more movement on this ball. That's the side effect of losing the distance.
I think that's the side effect of the stitches, right? Isn't it? Yeah. Because you can get a better grip on it. I don't know.
They've been putting substance on balls since I've been in high school. When I was in high school, they were doing it. High school pitchers were doing it. It's nothing unusual. They were throwing upper 80s, low 90s in high school where I was at, and they were putting stuff on the ball. We all knew it. There's nothing you could do. I was just part of it at that point.
I caught a lot of games in high school, and I never remember anything other than the basic stuff that was always around, like rosin and the fact that you try to scuffle your hands. Mm-hmm. So you get a little thing. But I mean, the actual they're talking about guys are getting in the article that you sent. It's like people are catching foul balls, and like the ball is sticky.
Yeah,
that I've never experienced.
Yeah, no, we've seen it on some of the high end guys that were getting scholarship offers and they were getting minor league offers or pro team offers were up to a little more than they should have been.
Well, so the fact that we're doing it still, we've been doing it since the beginning of, Mitchell made a great analogy or whatever. I wonder are we doing it just blatantly now because we know that they're not going to do anything about it, since Trevor Bauer is the example that we have, because he immediately, he came out and said there's no way you can get your spin rate up like that unless you're using something. And MLB is even actually making their own sticky substance. So whenever they're done making they get their product out there, every team has to use their product, they won't have a problem with sticky substance.
MLB is making a sticky substance?
Yes.
They're testing that. They're also doing tacky seams. They're trying some other different ways to help the pitchers out.
Or just like build a better ball that you can have a grip with, and you don't have to worry about sticky substances. But Malpal, did you know that in 2015 MLB partnered with the San Diego Padres owner and bought Rawlings Sports, and they're actually making the balls for baseball now? Did you know that?
I knew of that. Yes.
I did not know that.
Peter Seidler owns a capital, what do they call it, venture capital firm, and they bought a share of Rawlings. Yeah.
They bought Rawlings Sporting Goods Company, and now they're working on a new ball, just like Joe said. But the big thing that they're complaining about, and the pitchers and the players that are anonymous in these articles always have so much more strong shit to say than if they're like putting their name out there, such as JT Realmuto did. But like, there's a random anonymous NL pitcher, and he talks about like, what about the people that are trying to get paid? What about the people that are like losing out because of this? And I say, look, dude, a sticky substances isn't going to harm you long term. Like steroids might. You have to make a big decision about whether or not you want to take steroids now, get paid, and because everybody's doing it, and if you don't do it, then you're not going to get paid. Whoa. But you should use sticky substances.
Sticky substance could be hurting people, because you see all the breaking balls we're getting this year. The usage is way up over this year, and I've seen a lot more injuries this year with the arm than I normally would suspect early.
And I would say that the hit by pitches are up, and so if a pitcher feels he has better control, he'll try things he wouldn't if he didn't.
Correct.
You think? Interesting. That's interesting.
Don't get me started with the shift just yet. We'll wait till later.
I'm just saying
no. Talk about it.
I had to bring that up.
Some pitchers will come inside, but if they know that there's a good chance they're going to hurt the player, they wouldn't do it. But now they're like, oh, I can do this breaking pitch. I got this.
Yes.
And they lose it.
The confidence is a lot higher that ball can hold in there than it normally shouldn't.
And then it doesn't, and then you wind up, hitting a Pilar in the face or something.
Oh, God.
That was terrible. Yeah.
I do want to hear about the shift in just 1 second, though. The Kansas City, Dayton Moore, he's Oakland or Kansas City? I can't remember who it is.
Oh, Kansas City.
Okay, so he came out and he said, that basically the players are fine, hitters are fine with sticky substance, like to a point, because they don't want to get hit. And they know that the pitcher in the cold weather, and then Jim Palmer, this Hall of Fame pitcher, Jim Palmer, comes out and he says the weather does not even matter. You have the stuff, like, basically he says that he hit 38 guys in almost 4,000 innings, and now people are saying that you need sticky substances to grip the ball. What's going on here?
Well, he didn't have the velocity or probably the break that some of these pitchers are thinking they have, or probably way more than they have.
You love velocity, I see.
Velocity is helping. Like when you're getting sliders that maybe were thrown at 83, now you're getting sliders thrown at 90, 89, 88 now. It's a big difference.
But
Shane threw a 93 mile an hour changeup yesterday, and it's been a while since I've seen a low 90s changeup.
Has anyone considered that maybe the batters have not caught up to the skill of the modern day pitcher?
Oh, absolutely, they haven't caught up.
They're throwing 98. Every guy that comes out of the bullpen's throwing 96, 97. And I think another big issue.
Velocity isn't really a skill. You hear these things every year about like the really good hitters will, as part of their practice, like you can catch up to anything. The guy can throw 130 miles an hour. Give me 100 shots at it. I'll hit it by the 40th shot. The really good batters, part of their regimen is that they'll take the batting machine turn it up to the fastest it'll go, and then they'll place it 40 feet from the home plate or 30 feet from home plate to get their timing down. And you'll hear stories from guys like Nelson Cruz going, yeah, it takes about 12 balls, but once we get it, we get it. You know what I mean? Like, speed is not a thing to the batter at all. It just they can catch up to any speed. That's not a skill. That's just more speed.
Well, I think it's a skill. I think it's a skill, and I think
it's a skill like being tall.
What this is showing is you have your elite hitters, and they're going to be able to hit anything, like you said, Douglas. This is impacting these guys that are just your mid-level players. They're the guys that are hitting the .98. And I think another thing that's an issue, the game's changed. This MLB is now a bullpen game. I mean, these starting pitchers are going 5, 6 innings, and then they're just, as they say, you hear every announcer say, Ted Williams would have never hit 401 if he had to face guys thrown out of the bullpen at 98 miles an hour.
I agree.
So I don't think the batters have caught up, call it a skill or whatever, have caught up to the fact that these guys throw hard. Their breaking balls are harder. You want to throw in this grip stuff. I'll say this about the grip. I read that article. I see guys like Realmuto crying. Of course, they don't police the game themselves. They don't call out their own pitchers who are using it. These guys are just they're typical babies in this regard. They want I can't hit, but then their own pitchers are doing it at the same time. So,
well, that's the problem, because the only person that can call it out is a manager. The umpire can't just go up, and so the manager's going, well, I have my guy doing it too, so I'm not going to say anything. And I just wonder, I think we need less crying and more training, more working out, more getting better at your craft. Quit crying, and you could spend the time that you've spent crying and go and learn how to hit to the opposite side of the park. I mean, I also feel, Mitchell said there's a lot of people that don't like the shift. I'm one of the people that just doesn't make sense to me. Why can't you don't have to hide that you're going to try to hit it to the other side of the park. You don't have to hide that. Just go up to the batter's box and turn your body a little bit. That's what we did
it's not working.
And and the thing about it is
working. I agree with what you're saying, but it's not working. You have to be a pragmatist. It is not working. It is not working.
That's the thing, though. You could find a Chris Davis. You could find somebody that can hit home runs, do their diamond, and you could find them that can hit the ball to the other side of the park if you can't. You
can either do something about it, Andrea, or you can shut up.
I don't believe. Yes.
These are two choices the leadership has. They can do something about it, or they can shut the F up.
Well,
I'm tired of all of it. They're a bunch of crybabies, all of them.
I'm with you. I don't think they understand where it's coming from, what's causing it completely.
Oh, they know. They're not that
It's stupid. Not. You think it's just the shift? It's not anything to do with
the shift. Just watch what's happening in the experiment that the MLB is running. They have enough data right now to outlaw the shift. If they're serious about, if they're serious about having singles and doubles and rallies and stolen bases, if they're serious about bringing back the game that we used to love, then they can do something about it right now. And get some backbone and act.
The game will never.
You wouldn't have your vaccine if we'd have waited until we had all the data. We wouldn't have 40% of the American people vaccinated against COVID. When you get the data you need, that you can tell that the shift is a major contributor to the problem, then act on it and stop fiddling around.
I don't think the shift is a problem. I mean, I know it lowers batting average, but it's actually
it's cheating. It's cheating.
It's not cheating. It's a monumental
You're
sign
called
of
a second base
cleverness
because you play at second base, not because you play in left field. There's a reason you're called a second base.
I love it.
Why not call you a second right fielder then? If you don't play second base, then you're a right fielder.
Baseball's changed just like every sport had to evolve. You have the shift is there. It cut down the hitting, and that's what they got to do to win. The best hitters in the game and the best players that succeed can hit the other way and find a way to make it work.
Shut up about it then. Let's move on and talk about something else. Then I'm fine with that. I'm fine.
Okay.
If you want to go to a baseball game and sit there for 4 hours and watch nothing but strikeouts and ground balls and home runs, that's fine. I'm not one of those people.
Well, you could just have more beers, Mitchell. Drink more beers, dude.
It's like so you go to a baseball game and there's strikeouts, ground balls, and home runs. What's the other thing you're looking for?
I'm looking for action. I want to see action.
And I want to see
rallies.
Home runs not action.
I want to see 2 runners on base and someone cups up and hits it off the right field corner and drives in 2 runners with a double. That's what Mike Carson wants to see.
Imagine the Coors Field game.
And what's stopping that is the shift. It's not the batter's approach. I mean, that's the thing. Don't get me wrong. I actually think the idea of having there's nothing wrong with baseball saying you have to start the game in a certain position. That goes on in all sports. But it's really the batter's decision that they really don't want to hit for doubles or triples or they don't want to single. I mean, the truth is the reason why batters don't go to the opposite field to get a single when they're shifted is because that situation, if the guy does that, the defensive team has still won the matchup.
Well, why don't we in football let an offensive lineman go across the line and catch a pass?
That's exactly it.
Gain 10 yards.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the idea of saying that infielders have to stay in the infield. The only thing about that I don't like about the infielders staying in the infield is that there's that situation. I know it's rare and it's a small thing to give up, but there's that situation where you have like a tie game where it's like bases loaded in the 10th inning, and you bring in your outfielder to be a 5th infielder because you need a double play, and that rule would keep you from doing that. But it's a small thing, and I'll give that up. But I like that part of the game, that strategy part of the game.
One thing I learned wait, let me say one. Go ahead. Yes, Malpal, were you going to say something?
I was just going to conclude my comment on this is I don't particularly like the shift, but I think we've all heard the saying, it's been around since I was a little kid at least, is good pitching will always beat good hitting. And I think that's the era we're in. The pitching is just better than the hitting right now. I think it's not that complicated.
One thing I learned at the Arizona Fall League, I think I'll share with you what I thought of it while we were talking about this, but there's for breaking pitches, and I used to think that it was either, that to have an effective off-speed pitch, you had to have lots of miles per hour difference. Like the more difference in miles per hour, the better it's going to work out, the better you'll be able to fool batters. But I learned that 2 things. There's either movement, like you could do an off-speed pitch with lots of movement and that will still throw batters off just as well, or it has a lot of difference in the miles per hour. But the spin rate has something to do with this, because what you can learn by a guy with a lot of spin rate, Sarah's taught me this, with a high spin rate, right? It tells you late break, right, on a pitch. So you could tell like how much a pitch is breaking, but you can't tell when it breaks. So when you have the more spin that you can put on a ball, the later the break is. So like the more it's able to confuse batters and throw them off. So it doesn't necessarily need to be like a huge difference, which, I mean, he already brought up, and he's saying that, off-speed pitches are like 90 miles an hour now. That's because of their spin rate. I guarantee for these pitchers that are throwing these really fast off-speed pitches, they are putting a lot of spin on the ball. That's all. It's just an interesting thing that I did not know about, and I thought I'd share, okay? Let's move on.
The greatest pitchers of all time have always had the big difference between their fastball and their curveballs and changeups. You go down the list. So I don't think.
What about the movement? Does it not intrigue you about the movement, that with the spin rate, the higher the spin rate, the later the movement is? So you could have a pitch that drops 3 inches or 5 inches. If it drops early, it doesn't really matter that much. Or if it like drops gradually, it doesn't matter. But if it comes like right at you and then drops down and like the bottom comes out of it, that's what just is an amazing pitch, right?
Yeah, it's Greg Maddux, it's Trevor Hoff. Chapman. That's Roger Clemens. That's all these guys had late action on their pitches.
Then they
that's
probably
what made
had
them
high
all famous.
spin. I'm just saying,
But I
as
don't
a
know that they
fan,
had this magic, grip that we're talking about.
you can look at the spin rate and you say to yourself, what does the spin rate even mean? How many of us even look at the spin rate? But a spin rate can tell you late movement. That's all I'm saying. So next time you're looking and you say, oh, he's got 2,200 RPMs, whatever the fuck that means, like nobody cares. But that is what it can tell you. So, all right. What about predicting division winners? You guys wanted to do that. You wanted to do it last week. We didn't get around to it. Let's talk about this, but I'd like to make sure that we remind everybody that Douglas picked the Giants as
The surprise team of the year. Not the division winner. I said, they got to figure out a way that they're going to make the playoffs as a third wild card. That's what I said, which I think.
Why did you choose the Giants as the surprise winner?
Because it was more by default. Like, I'm a Cubs fan, so I look at the Central, and I think the Cubs could win the Central, but nobody in the Central is that good. And I look at like the East, and I think the same thing. It's like right now the Mets are leading. The Mets are in first place, and a third of their teams on the IL. Like those, nobody wants to win those things. The three teams that are trying to win are the Giants, the Padres, and the Dodgers. And I will give some credence to the Mets and the Cardinals. They did a little bit to try to win, but those are the only five teams, And it's,
what do you mean? Like they only those are the only teams that did it?
The Mets went out and signed Lindor. The Cardinals went and traded for Arenado to do something meaningful. You know what I mean? Like
what did the Cardinals do? Oh, they got Arenado. Okay.
Yeah, give them a little credit for that. But everyone else just did minor things, and that's it. So I would actually think that. I mean, if you make me predict, I'm still going to pick the Cubs out of fandom, but I would probably say it's going to be the Cardinals, the Mets, and then the three teams in the West for the National League.
Tell me who you think is going to win each division. Which team is going to win each division? Do it. Just go through the divisions for me, and we'll do that for each of us.
Okay.
Okay, I'll say American League East.
Should I go first? I'm going to go. I'm going to go with the Red Sox.
Okay, American League Central.
All me? Okay. Before the season, I would have said the Twins. Now I'm going to say the White Sox.
White Sox. West?
The West is Houston.
Did you say Red Sox?
Yes, I did.
Red Sox, Houston, White Sox. Okay, Mitchell, who's for the American League?
Yankees in the East. White Sox in the Central.
Okay.
Houston in the West.
Joe, who's American League for you?
Red Sox, White Sox, and I hate saying the Astros, but Astros.
Oh, it sucks so bad. I'm going to say Tampa Bay wins the East.
Reasonable.
And the Central is definitely going to be the White Sox, and the West, Oakland. I mean, if there's even any chance that I could pick anybody but Houston, I will do it. What about the National League, Douglas? You say American.
You didn't get Malpel's predictions.
Oh, I'm sorry, Malfa. I forgot you.
Oh, it's okay. You just said my predictions. We can go on. I agree with Andrea. I go Tampa,
Okay.
Chicago, and Oakland.
Okay, good. Yay.
And I'm pretty
Good.
certain about that. I will lay down 50 cents.
Okay, good. Douglas, what about the National League? Central, West, and East.
I sort of said I think it'll be. I'm going to pick the Padres in the West, but I'm going to say the Mets and the Cardinals. They're gonna take the Central.
Wait, you're a Cubbies fan.
Well, I'm saying that I like the Cubs. I think the Cubs could win it. I think the Brewers could win it. I think anyone can win that division.
Choose them? If you think they can win, then you should choose them since you're their fan.
You asked them who you thought was going to win, not who.
I think the Cardinals are right now a better team than the Cubs are.
Okay, Mitchell.
Even though we beat them 2 out of 3 this weekend in very good games.
The Dodgers in the West, St. Louis in the Central, and I think I have to go with the Mets if they get Carrasco back.
Yeah, if they're in the league with all these problems, if they get healthy, they should win that division.
Like Doug says, they got half the team on the DL, and they're still in first place. So I'd say the Mets, Cardinals, and the Dodgers showed the Giants Who's your daddy? Did they not?
Yeah, they did, dude.
They made mincemeat out of the Giants.
Joe, who do you like?
Dodgers, Cardinals, and Atlanta.
So you guys, the two of you both said Dodgers so far, and I want to know if you think that the Padres are just not real, or just because the Dodgers have more experience, or is it their pitching? What is making you take the Dodgers over the?
I like
Padres?
the Dodgers staff when healthy.
The pitching staff.
Yes, I think the lineup's good, but I'll take the Dodgers pitching staff.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Mitchell, why are you choosing the Dodgers over the?
I agree with Joe. Plus, the Dodgers' depth is incredible. I mean, it's just you could almost form two teams from the Los Angeles Dodgers. Once the players come off the IL, you've almost got two major league teams. I mean, you really do. Their depth is incredible. So I like them. I agree with Joe. I think their starting rotation is still the best starting rotation in the league.
I mean, they have Bauer, so.
Yeah. I lean Dodgers just because.
This is bullshit. You guys are bullshit. Both of you. Douglas and you.
Malpel's got his opinion.
I think the Padres.
I think the Dodgers are just hanging in there, and they don't have Bellinger back yet. But I want to say Padres, but I think Kershaw, Buehler, Bauer, that's better than Darvish, Snell, and whatever the Padres have to throw out. And in the Central, oh boy, I'd lean Cardinals over the Cubs. And in the East, I don't like anyone, so I'll go with the Marlins.
Oh, okay. Well, the East is very close. And, we just saw the Phillies leading the National League East just last week, or just, a couple days ago. It wasn't that long ago. Their strikeouts are catching up to them for sure. We talked about the strikeout differential. I think it really does matter. I feel so disappointed in this because I do not – well, first of all, I will go with the Padres. There's no more exciting team in baseball than the Padres. I feel bad that you guys don't have faith in your own team that you like.
Well, this is the thing. No, I'm going to explain the Cubs thing. It's like part of being a fan of a team. Part of being a fan of a team is that you get to not only love them when they're good, but hate them when they're bad. And the Chicago Cubs management, after winning that thing, has committed to being a bad baseball team. The guys that are important parts of the Cubs core, like Bryant, Baez, Schwarber. Absolutely no movement on trying to keep them here a long time. They had Rizzo under wraps. That's fine. They make that move that I kind of go overboard with my hatred of Jock Peterson, but Jock Peterson is a middle finger to Cubs fans. That's what he is. He's a horrible replacement for a guy who's iconic in Chicago, and he's not better than him, and he's not worth $7 million. You could have,
who are you talking about?
Schwarber versus Peterson. It's like. The Chicago team, and then they trade away their pitching staff for a bunch of guys that throw 88 miles an hour. And don't get me wrong, I love Carl Hendricks and stuff, but it's like the management of that team. And then of course they jerked around Joe Madden, who was also sort of iconic in the thing. It's like this is a team that wants to come in third place, and I'm not going to begrudge them that.
I mean, I feel bad for you because I know exactly what Theo does to a team.
I mean, you used to be a Red Sox fan, and part of being a Red Sox fan was hating them sometimes.
Yeah.
But I never. But if the words ever came out of my mouth, like I think that the Cubs could win the division, or if I think that the Red Sox could win the division, there isn't a chance in hell that I would not choose the Red Sox. But also, there's like this idea that maybe you don't want to jinx them, and like you're not going to get your hopes up, and like be disappointed as a fan.
It's not that. I became a Cubs fan.
Realistic.
I cut my teeth on the Chicago Cubs in the 70s when they were god awful. So the truth is, my vision of baseball is my team's not going to win. This is what I think of on a regular basis. Who else is out there to root for? So I always root for somebody. That's why this year I've been rooting for the Giants. A couple years back, I rooted for the Twins. But
did everybody go for the National League? Did everybody put their?
Yeah.
Who's left? Me to put in my National League picks? Go ahead, Douglas. Finish your thought, though.
No, that's it. I was gonna. That's it. It's like right now I'm in the phase where like I'm taking what they give me. I'm still a fan. I hope they win. If they were to win more than they should, but they really aren't trying to give the fans anything right now. And they are probably, like, if you were to rank out how wealthy they are, they're about the third wealthiest team in baseball. They could afford it if they wanted to. If they wanted Schwarber and not Peterson, they could have done it. They could have done it easily. And,
if they get an offer for Rizzo or Bryant that's good enough, they would be gone tomorrow.
Yeah, Bryant is going to get traded. The reason why
they're going to do a sell-off. Joe is right. They're losing their whole team at the end of the year. They're going to be bottom faders for the next 5 years.
They were even saying on the broadcast last night, the reason why they're playing Bryant in the outfield so much is to make him more tradable.
Well, he deserves to go to another team because the Cubs screwed him, and the judge basically said at that point that it was okay to leave your minor leaguers in the minor league, even if they're ready to come up, and we don't care about anything but that. But when the Red Sox decided that they were going to enter 2019 with no closer, they gave up Kimbrel, and they just decided to have this World Series team, okay, but no closer. Like, we're just too close to the tax threshold, so we're not going to bother putting a closer on our team. We're just going to use the, whatever's on the trash heap. It's just unbelievable. And I was, as a fan,
I get it.
You just won the World Series and you can't afford a freaking closer? No.
I'm a Red Sox fan, and that bothered me as well.
But had they signed Kimbrel, he would have been awful for them. He was awful for most of 2019. It wasn't the answer in retrospect.
No, but keeping him for the money, it would have been worth at least keeping him and seeing what they could have got.
You don't know what he would have been because he was fabulous for the Red Sox in 2018.
He was horrible in 2018 in the playoffs.
Oh yeah, he was dreadful.
Okay, I'm going to choose Milwaukee because I love their defense and I think their their bullpen is and their starting pitchers. They have Corbin Burns. I mean, literally, these guys don't walk anybody. Their defense is wonderful. I think it doesn't get enough credit in baseball. I'm going to take Milwaukee. I will take the Padres since you people. I'm a huge fan of the Padres.
I took the Padres.
And I will take in the East. I'm not taking the Mets.
You are.
Okay.
It's got to be the Braves.
Peer pressure. Take the Mets.
They're not even doing anything with Soroka, and he's still coming back.
I don't know about him, dude. He's got other problems now. They had to go in there and explore his ligament, his Achilles tendon. They had to go back into his leg and explore around in there. They don't know what's wrong. They said that exploratory surgery went good, but we don't have a clue like how long he could be out. Let's talk about the road to recovery since we're on the subject. I listed a couple of players here. It looks like they're all pitchers. Isn't that funny? I did not even intend to do all pitchers.
There are a couple hitters that are on rehab, like J.D. Davis and Brian Hayes, those guys.
Yes. What about Sixto? Does anybody are you interested in Sixto Sanchez?
Yes, but
no.
I don't know what's going on. I might be more interested in Yogi Poteet.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, go ahead.
No, you're fine.
No, please. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
They have an open spot in that rotation. That's why they've been trying out 4 or 5 different people. If Sixto comes back, pitches well, he's the 5th guy no matter what.
When does Eliezer Hernandez come back?
He's eligible to return.
He's eligible to return June 6th, June 3rd.
Yeah,
he's a pretty good pitcher.
Yep, he just threw 7 innings pitched, I think 11 Ks. Or that's his total over 2 starts. Over 2 starts.
On Sunday. Yesterday, he had 4 scoreless innings at AAA, and he had 2 hits, no walks, and struck out 8. He's on his way back.
He's a pretty good pitcher.
Yeah, he is.
Okay, so I take it back. I shouldn't have put Sixto Sanchez on this list. Now they have Poteet, who should be talked about, absolutely, who's had a couple good outings, and we didn't even notice him. Pitching for Miami in the best ballpark for pitchers in the major league. And, I mean, Sixto is not – I only just own him in the National League only, so I was excited to see that he is new. But, okay, it's probably not worth talking about. Once you start throwing from 120 feet, how long does it take you to come back after that? Quite a while, I think. Is
that where he's at?
Yeah. He's
throwing 120 feet?
Yeah. like off flat ground, I'm assuming. So
I don't think you see him till mid-June, probably.
Yeah. I think
Well-
that they think that he's their next best pitcher, and he's going to come in sometime late in the season because they still have playoff hopes, so he can pitch through the playoffs.
If that team is in contention, they'll bring him. They will let
Bring
him
him
go.
up late. Bring him up
Yeah.
late so he can pitch in the playoffs.
And that would be one of the best rotations in baseball if he comes in. That rotation's good.
That's why I picked the Marlins. The best pitching.
what about Framber Valdez, you guys? He pitched 4 scoreless at AAA yesterday too.
Yeah. He's going to be back, and he's going to be good.
Yeah, agree.
Framber Valdez. What about Jose Urquidy? Or if you wanted to say something about Valdez, you can still, totally.
I was going to say that all the guys that are hurt, that's the guy I want the most, is Valdez.
Valdez.
Why? Isn't he the one? Didn't he hurt his finger? He was going to get stitches or.
Yeah, he fractured his left ring finger, I think. But it's because he's already showed that he can pitch at the major league level. He's going to pitch a lot. He's pitching for good teams, win strikeouts, the things I need. You know, the other guys, even like the Alex Manoas of the world, are unproven factors by not that Framber's pitched that much more, but he's pitched enough that I think I have a good feel for what he is. Whereas, you know, Sixto Sanchez could be awesome, might be the best pitcher in baseball in 2024. I'm just jumping around a bit. You know what I mean?
No. Sixto pitched last year pretty good and pitched quite a few innings, didn't he? I don't know. I thought he did.
Nobody pitched a lot of innings, but he did. He pitched probably 4 games, 5 games.
I think he had 4 starts last year.
Yeah. Which
look him up.
In any other year we'd consider almost nothing, but last year that's a quarter of the year.
7 starts, dude. 7. Anyway, I hear what you're saying. What about Pineda? Does anybody like Pineda? I know freaking Minnesota is such a mare. Buxton should come back and make the team better again.
I like Wainwright better than Pineda.
Really?
Bring it around, yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Seems to me something stuck out on Pineda. It seems like some major regressions now occur with him. He's got a 2.7 ERA, which he's never sniffed in his career. And I was just looking at him, and he's got a strand rate of nearly 9 out of 10 base runners he leaves stranded, which
this year, just this year though, he's only pitched 38 innings.
It's 87%. That is not doable.
Okay, but let's talk about what he did before 2021. Can we talk about what he did before 2021? I mean, that strand rate is not normal.
If it equalizes to like a league average, even his fifth is like 4.3, which is right with his career. So that's where he's headed, in my opinion. He's headed to like a 4 ERA.
Well, what about the fact that he never walks batters? Does that count for anything or no?
When he pitched for the Yankees, he had that thing where he just didn't want to walk people. But sometimes when you watched him pitch, it would make him throw more balls in the zone than maybe you ought to. Like he got hit hard a lot too. That's kind of a side effect. Maybe it's gotten better in Minnesota, but that's one thing I've sort of in my mind when I picture Pineda. It's like he's a guy that has a low whip, but also like lets up a lot of runs for a guy with such a low whip.
Yeah, and he lets up a ton of fly balls, and that just, at least in my analysis, is a recipe for a mediocre pitcher at best.
Yeah. Eno Saris does this thing where he ranks pitchers based on command. Michael Pineda has really high rankings for that, but his spin rate is super low. His fastball is only 90 miles an hour now. It used to be 92, 94. When he was with Seattle, I thought for sure, I remember a survey coming around, who is the next best young pitcher like in baseball? And it was before Jose Fernandez was even a thing. I was like, Pineda is going to be the next pitcher. He's excellent. Then he went to the Yankees. He was not good there. I mean, I like him better than you guys, but I think that the fact that the Minnesota Twins are so bad right now that it totally turns me off of him because he would need that extra oomph from his team to be rosterable in a 12-team league. Mitchell, do you hate Michael Pineda on your team?
No, I don't love him. But when you got Wainwright and Matthew Boyd and Zach Davies,
yeah,
Pineda looks pretty good compared to what you got.
Yeah.
Joe, you probably don't like Pineda either. He's very like old school, 90-mile-an-hour type thing.
And you're playing the White Sox in that division. That's enough. No.
Yeah.
But you get all those games with the Rangers and the Royals. That helps out.
Yeah, true.
What about Tony Gonzalen? How exciting is this? Okay, first of all,
I personally don't get the Gonzalen one. Explain to me why.
I'm very excited. I'm very excited about.
Why should I be excited about a 2-inning middle reliever?
He's
not a middle reliever.
I picked him up.
Anything but a middle reliever.
I picked him up before he started. He's good. He's very good.
Is David Price a reliever, Douglas?
No, that's the thing. Like before the season started, like they said that they were down to 2 guys for that last spot. It was between May and Price.
And then they got Bauer.
No, that was after Bauer. They picked May over Price to be the 5th starter. Gonzalen wasn't even in the discussion. And it's like I don't know how people thought that by being injured for 3 weeks, he's now a potential starter, even though the Dodgers have never seen him as that ever.
I will tell you why. Because Gonzalen had no room to get into the rotation when he came up to the majors, so they used him as a reliever, and they loved what he did because he's an excellent pitcher all around. But he was supposed to be a starting pitcher from the beginning. They didn't have any room for him.
I'm going to sit here and be quiet the rest of the way. Everybody go make your mistake and go after Gonzalen, and then come back in 2 months and say, I told you.
Do you think he's not a good pitcher?
No, I think he's a good pitcher, but
do they need the
Dodgers? The Dodgers are famous for screwing around with pitchers, especially young ones. It took them a while to let Urias into the thing, and Urias is one of the better pitchers. Right now, it's like if May wasn't so dominant in the beginning of this in the spring training, they would have picked Price over May. Price is going to be the first guy. The only way Gonzalen starts is if they give Price a shot, and then Price fails, which I don't think is going to happen. Admittedly, Gonzalen's probably going to get 4 or 5 starts this year, but I don't think it's enough to get any kind of excitement about. It's like maybe in 2 years he's now. You have to go, well, Kershaw's now on the A's or something, and it's like, well, it's Buehler, Gonzalen, May. That's something. But this year,
you see how quick you could need a pitcher. You see how quick that happens, right?
Yes. Yeah, no, it could happen. That's the thing. It's like, yeah, but why are you getting excited about like a 10% possibility?
I'm just excited because I think he's a great pitcher. I wish they would trade him. I think you're right in the fact that there isn't room in the rotation for all this, but Dustin May is not even pitching right now.
I mean, yeah, it's true. But I mean, like, there are other guys on other teams. Like, I'm more excited about Michael Kopech. There are guys like that, and I'm like, I just don't get it. I think the Dodgers are getting a little bit of that overhype that the Yankees used to get. I think it used to be like a slightly above average prospect on the Yankees would be considered a world beater.
I think you're undervaluing his stuff. His stuff is very, very good. Very, very good.
The world
they viewed him as a starter from day one.
Dude, there's a difference between good stuff and room in the rotation.
Julio Urias was a better pitcher, always was a better pitcher than him.
Who has the best stuff in the Cubs rotation by far?
They need a pitcher so bad.
Alec Manoa probably.
Answer my question. Who has the best stuff by
far?
Alzolay. I don't even know. I don't even pitch it.
Better than
Kyle Hendricks.
He should be the number 1 pitcher in the Cubs rotation.
Who?
He would be number 1.
Alzolay should be.
What about Kyle Hendricks?
The reason I mentioned Alzolay is I think Joe's right. Gonzalen failed in the World Series. He was like a deer in the headlights. He's got good stuff.
I hope
his first major league start was against the Twins at Minnesota. That was very rough. Or no, it was the Diamondbacks when the Diamondbacks were raking when they had oh God, who was it? A couple years. I'm trying. 2 years ago? They had a stacked lineup in Arizona, gave up 4 runs but struck out 7. So they knew what they had.
Dude. Hey,
I've owned it for 3 years, so he's sitting there.
That right there tells me that you're biased because you've had this guy on your team for 3 years and you are biased. That's all there is to it. So
bias alarm.
Well, I'm glad I'm not biased.
We need a sound system. Like we need some sound effects, right? We can get those.
We need a gong. We need a gong.
We need a bong, not
a bong, a gong.
Yeah, a bong. A bong and a gong.
I gave up the bong a week ago.
A lady with a bong and a gong I don't
She's
know.
my favorite lady. A lady with a bong is the best.
For sure. Taylor, let's talk about prospects. I can't, like, we were just talking about who Gonzalen had to face on his first outing. I think it's really shitty that they're bringing up Manoa to face the Yankees. Like, what more intimidating team is there in baseball than the Yankees?
Yeah, that's a good point.
There are better teams, but they're the most intimidating, probably.
But they're not.
Is it in Yankee Stadium, Andy, or is it in
That would make a big difference.
the knee?
I
I think
don't
I heard they were playing the Yankees at Yankee Stadium. This
Yeah,
It's in
my
Yankee
God.
Stadium.
that's rough on that kid to walk into
I
Yankee.
mean, you know, maybe it's best to just throw him into the fire real quick, and then he comes out of there a little tougher than
Yeah,
than the rest
if
of
he
them.
comes out of that, pitching 5.1 innings, 1 run, and 9 strikeouts, then you're like, yep, there's something there.
Can I bore you with a good decision I did not make?
Yeah.
We've got those.
I was going to drop Gomber 3 times, and he had 3-1 in the 7th inning.
Yeah, he's got like 1 hit.
I love Gomber. I think he's great. Okay, I love it. And John Gray is pitching good too. These Colorado Rockies, like, nobody wants to. Anyway, let's get back on topic. Prospect stuff. Time for prospect talk. Taylor Trammell is the guy that they sent down in Seattle to bring up Jared Kelenic. Okay, now Taylor Trammell is batting .462 with a .465 on base percentage, 4 doubles, 4 home runs, and 15 RBIs in 43 clearances at AAA. While Kelenic, now up at the major leagues, batting .139 with a .205 on base percentage in his first 39 appearances. I'm not trying to ask like why this happens, but it's
I have
happening.
a theory.
Okay.
I was talking to some people about the baseball. Something we talk about all the time, and the Major League Baseball is a little bit pitcher friendly. Let's say this year. So I was asking around on Twitter, and I had a discussion today with Meredith Walls, who does the person who cuts over the thing. She said she went to a AAA game, and because Major League Baseball is cheap, she went to a game in the AAA East. The ball had the logo of the International League on it, so they're using 2019 balls in the minor leagues.
What does that mean? What does that? Please tie this in.
2019 was the Super Bowl where everybody was hitting home runs left and right. They're using those balls up, the ones they didn't use last year.
Yep.
They never use. No, they don't use They don't use the International League Baseball in Major League Baseball. Don't do that.
No, in AAA. That's why the numbers are inflated in the minors. That's why Orlando Garcia has 7 home runs. That's why a guy like Keston Hira, who could not hit at the major league level, goes down and hits .406. It's because they're going from the hardest ball to hit that we've seen in the last 10 years or so to the easiest ball to hit that we've seen in the last 10 years or so.
Yeah, but the thing about that,
which does reverse things for the pitchers.
The Pacific Coast League for decades has been just a bandbox. The grounds are terrible, the fences are short, and there's a lot of high elevation. And so they're always skewed. Let me give you an example. Austin Hedges one year at El Paso hit 32 home runs. So I take this stuff like Taylor Trammell with a grain of salt. That guy's a 4A player.
He might be a major league backup outfielder.
He's a nothing burger.
Because he does run and stuff. Run and field.
Why? Okay,
Might be wrong.
We do know. Well, look, is it nerves? Does it have anything to do with nerves, or like the best of the best is in the majors? A guy like Kelenic is nervous because he's put a lot of pressure on this kid. Most rookies that are good, like nobody's paying attention to them, and that's why they're probably good. In my opinion, I think that to put on a guy like Vladdy Jr., what we did to him, it was not helping him be a better baseball player. No doubt about it.
I agree with that. There was a lot of pressure put on that kid last year.
And I think that Kelenic will always be kind of remembered with Kirilloff. And Kirilloff, the last 3 weeks outside of the injury, looks like a really good Major League Baseball player. The time before that, he looked like he was a little bit lost. It just takes a moment. Kelenic's been up for what, 2.5 weeks? Give him a breath. Let him be the guy. No, admittedly, from a fantasy standpoint, I own him in a league. He's benched, but he's not cut. You know.
But this is why I tell you. Don't get so excited about these rookies. This is why I tell you, look at Jonathan India. He had a horrible couple of weeks, and he was just horrible. Right now, he's doing better. Maybe he's calmed down a little bit, like his nerves are a little better. But for sure, Wander Franco just comes to mind every time. Every year I have a fight about a player. Every year there's one player that I'm always fighting people about. This guy is not going to help you. Wander Franco is the guy this year that I think is just hopeless. I mean, yes, he'll probably come up to the majors, but what's he really going to do? Tampa has a Vidal Brujan too. Go ahead, you guys. I'll start.
I was offered Anthony Rendon yesterday, straight up for Kirilloff.
You're joking me.
I declined the trade.
Oh my God.
I like Kirilloff.
You want me to tell you why? You want me to tell you why?
I'd love to hear why.
Yeah.
Kirilloff has played about 15 or 20 games, and he's got more home runs and RBIs than Rendon. Rendon is $39 in a legacy league.
Okay.
Kirilloff is $5.
Okay, so you're talking about
different.
Yeah, that's different. I would take Kirilloff in that with the 39 versus 5. Sure.
Yeah. Straight up, I would take Rendon.
Yep.
No question.
I agree with you, Joe.
Legacy league.
Legacy, I probably keep Kirilloff.
That's what I'm saying, Joe.
Yeah, that makes sense.
If it were a redraft league, I'd have taken Rendon. But my feeling was with Trout being out for 8 weeks, that's not going to help in any way Anthony Rendon seeing good pitches.
Yeah, that's very true, for sure, no question about it. But what's up with Joe Adell and Brandon Marsh? Okay, well, Joe Adell
Joe Adell is right now leading the minor leagues, all minor leagues in home runs.
Yes, he's hitting very good. But Brandon Marsh sucks. He's just horrible. So when do you think Adell gets the call then? Why isn't he here yet?
I think the Angels are stupid for one thing. They're not going anywhere. What do they have to lose by giving the kid a shot?
One year of playing time is what they have to lose. Yeah, it's like wait till you can yell and scream once June 5th, which is only 2 weeks away past round. But it's a matter of it's like there's enough. Like he's hitting 264 with 9 home runs, but he's striking out like 40% of the time. That's enough to give you a little bit of concern. So he's not like based on what you're doing. Like that guy's showing that he's got everything in control, and he should be up. Don't get me wrong, he should be up this year. He just got to improve a little bit. He'd get that strikeout rate down to 33, 32, and then you're okay. But
what in the world?
32 is horrible. Don't get me wrong. But 40 is miserable.
You're right.
Nobody should start at 40 strikeout rate except for Javi Baez. That's the only guy.
Yeah, that's Rob Deer territory.
Javi Baez doesn't even strike out that much, not even close. But
really,
I thought
he was up to 50%.
Maybe he is now, but over his career, he's always been a high strikeout guy, but never 40%, dude.
This year he's been horrible.
Adell starting out. Look, someone needs to get fired in Angels world. Somebody needs to be canned immediately because this is going to be their 6th year that they have not even made the playoffs. Okay, and Trout deserves to, like, his career is just whittling away.
Yeah, there's something wrong there, no doubt.
Fuck.
But Andrew,
Joe,
let me ask you this. Let me be the devil's advocate because every week you talk about how Mackenzie Gore has not had enough time in the minors.
He's not pitching well, dude. If he was pitching well, I would say okay.
And I would say this: Joe Adell has 300 career at bats above AA.
Yes.
These teams, I mean, I think there's pretty good history of these guys getting a full year at AA or single A or AAA before they bring them up. I mean, Adell comes up if he have with a 40% strikeout rate, the guy's going to hit 128. It just has to happen. You can't hit 200 with that much strikeout.
No, I agree with you 100%. The thing is that I feel like you can't take a pitcher from single A and just, or even, maybe even just like 20 innings at AA and bring him to the major leagues just because he's Mackenzie Gore and everything's great. Joe Adell, though, has already been to the majors, proved that he was horrible in the majors, needed to go back to the minors, is crushing it in the minors as far as if that's what we're going to pay people for, to hit the ball out of the park, that's what he's doing. And nobody seems to even care about a 40% strikeout rate anymore, because as long as you're doing one of three things, then you're all good. You're getting paid, you know? If you're going to let go of Albert Pujols, you better have somebody ready to play ball, and they don't. And that drives me nuts.
I mean, he's hitting 260. He's hitting 260, and Adele is hitting 260 in a bandbox in the minor leagues, striking out 35% of the time. That's why they're not bringing him up. That's why they're not going to bring him up right now.
I'm just annoyed that they fired Pujols for no reason, but I love what he's doing. Pujols had a hit on Sunday. Pujols had hit or had an RBI in every game since he became a Dodger, which I freaking just love, okay, because that's payback. Number one, the Angels suck compared to the Dodgers, so Albert Pujols is better off anyway, and, you know, all things happen, but I'm just,
Albert
you know
will be
me.
Fine.
Just to be accurate about Joe Adele, he struck out 41% last year at the major league level. He's striking out about 35% of the minors right now, but it's still high.
Okay, yeah, it's close to 40 though. Just on Sunday, I looked at it. It was, I don't know.
34.2% it's today based on what I'm seeing right now. I just looked it up because I wanted to be, you know, sometimes it calls.
That's why I said 30. I said 35. So yeah, you just can't.
You're good. I'm correcting myself.
You just can't be a good player at that strikeout rate.
Okay, so let me ask a question real quick before we move on with we talked about Taylor Trammell doing great in the minors now that he's sent back down, and Kalenic. How long? We know that if Kalenic stays up at this point for the rest of the season, he will qualify at one of his clock will start, basically.
Yeah.
So what are the odds that Kalenic stays up no matter what he does hitting wise? And I mean, even Trammell can too. This has nothing to do with Trammell. It's more about, will the Mariners keep him up for the rest of the season, even though it's going to cost them a year of service time? Mitchell?
I think they've already lost that year of service time now.
They could theoretically get it back by sending him down.
They could send him back. Yeah. They don't like to do that too much, but they could.
Sometimes you get a player's injured, and they'll do it with the injury. It happened to Brendan Rodgers.
Yeah, I think the Mariners caught so much shit for not bringing him up immediately. I think he gets a very long leash. But saying that, everyone has their limits. You know, if he's really sucking.
Do you think they brought him up because of the whole nonsense with the manager talking about saying out loud what everybody already knows anyway?
I mean, manipulating the clock? Yes.
Yes. Why are they so angry?
They all do it.
And everybody knows it. So what's the deal? Change the rules if you don't like what's happening, but you are promoting this, MLB. So do you think
Padres didn't do it with that piece? They didn't do it.
Some guys don't do it. I also think that a little bit of an art to the clock calculation. And last year, because of the weird year they had and a lot of players played, the cutoff date might be earlier than we think. And so maybe they have some kind of information that says based on their calculation, they're already past that point. Because a lot of players played last year. The Rule 2 guys might have a lower threshold because, like, for instance, Joe Adele is not considered a prospect not because he has the right number of at-bats, but because he played in the month of September, which never used to count against players. But it did last year. You know what I mean?
Right.
Oh,
that's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
So the September of last year counted for everybody. So the formula to decide when the Rule 2 cutoff might be substantially different than we're used to. So we might already be on that point, and we just not know it. And maybe they're making a calculated guess.
What it says in the agreement, dude, in the Major League Baseball agreement, is that it's not a number of days. It's a percentage of the season.
Right. No, it's a percentage of how many players have played a certain number of games. But the thing about this year, what I'm saying is that a larger number of rookie players came into 2020 with some games under their belt. Because of that, the number of games that played this year should be less than most other years. So the cutoff date should be a week or two earlier. It just sort of stands to reason.
Okay, so you're saying it goes on a rolling. Okay,
it goes on. Like, let's say I don't know exactly the numbers, but let's say there's 100 rookies, right? But they say that 25% of them should get special treatment Rule 2. I'm making up these numbers, but it's something like this. And the 25% are the ones that have played the most. That's how it works.
Yes,
so
right.
Because players last year got 17, 20, 30 games under their belt in the weird situation, the players who played the most will get to those numbers. We'll get to the point where they're at the higher level earlier this year than in most years, because instead of starting at 0 to start 2021, they started at 17 games on their clock or 18 games on their clock. Does that make sense?
I mean, yeah, it makes sense, but I'm not sure. I'm not really sure of
But the truth is, nobody really knows what that day is.
Okay.
Every year, they always after the fact they'll go back and go, it was June 3rd. You know what I mean? They don't know.
Because it has to be only the top 10% though of rookies. It's the top 10% of players, right? The top most at bats or whatever. That's what it depends on. So it doesn't really depend on a specific like percentage of the games played. Anyways, do you guys want to talk about potential closers to be hoarding in on and like checking out, or no? We only have a few minutes.
Can I bring up a prospect that we didn't talk about that's made a second start?
Yes, please.
Yes. I'm probably gonna butcher his name, but James Capirion.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Yes.
Pick
I bid it on him.
Yes.
I bid it on him.
Yes. If you watch his game, he's throwing 95, 96 on the corners. Control. It looks good. He looks really, really good.
Okay. Do you believe? Let me ask you a couple questions about your velocity affection. Your affection.
Yes, you can call it that.
Do you think that it hurts a player's chances of staying healthy? Do you believe that throwing the ball all the time that hard is obviously harder on your arm and will cause you to be injured more often?
I can tell you, since I'm a little younger, some of the science that we were going through as high schoolers, a lot of that stuff, because we had people throwing velocity 80s to 90s. I've had people that threw low 80s that blew out their arms, and I had a guy that threw 93 that's still playing.
93 is not the same as 99.
No, but 93 and 80. But the guy that was throwing 80 was throwing curveballs, changeups, sliders. The other guy was strictly fastball, because the high school 93 in high school is almost unhittable. So okay. I think the off-speed stuff is really, because as I was growing up, they told you not to throw curveballs as much as you're younger. Now all the kids are AAU, and they've thrown curveballs year-round. Most of those kids I know have gone through a surgery at least once. So to some degree.
Think it's more about the delivery than the velocity?
It's all delivery. It's all delivery.
That would cause, like, the release point. What causes injuries more is the way that the pitcher releases the ball rather than, or like Harvey, he used to whip his arm, like as soon as he would let go of the ball, it would just like whip back his elbow. I knew he was destined for Tommy John, but like
Josiah Gray from the Dodgers, they were a couple starts before he got pulled out. They were looking at his arm motion. They said this is leading to something, and 2 starts later he's out till June with a shoulder inflammation. We think. So.
Okay, but so like a violent type of delivery is more will cause an injury more than the fact that your arm is not going to continue to throw 99 miles an hour over and over.
DeGrom's been throwing 100 for what? Close to 4 years, and lat injury, he's fine.
I mean, there's pitchers that do. For Aroldis Chapman, he throws 100. Like he throws just. I'm not just saying he's the fastest thrower, but he throws that hard all the time, and he does not get hurt, and he's durable. But like DeGrom and Garrett Cole the other night, his very last pitch of the night was his fastest pitch of the season. So like in the 7th inning or 8th inning or whatever. I mean, that's something.
Max Scherzer, who used to throw, he still throws pretty decent, but he was throwing upper 90s, and he's been healthy. I don't think it has anything to do with speed. I think it's your delivery and your mechanics. If your mechanics are flawed, it's going to lead to an arm injury, which...
Well, why do you love velocity so much then? Why do you love it?
I think velocity makes your other stuff play up more. In today's game, 90 miles an hour with the stuff, they had movement, but somebody, I think it was Mitch that mentioned it, they weren't throwing 98 in the 6th, 7th, and 8th inning back then. Now, every middle reliever throws 98, 99. They only throw 2 pitches. They throw a hard slider or a curveball, and velocity is just where it's at. The guys that are 89, like Wainwright, he pitches good. If he misses his spot at 89, it's getting hit. pitcher misses at 98, he's has a chance that they're not going to catch it.
Yeah, that's true. You guys, go ahead and give your opinions on this velocity topic.
No, it's about command. I'm a big believer. I've said this before everybody. I think command is more important than speed. There's two things, command and movement. Velocity has to be matched with movement, because you can have the velocity, but without the movement, these hitters up there can hit 100-mile-an-hour pitch out.
Definitely.
Yeah, I agree.
The pitchers that are successful have more than a couple pitches. That's what I mean. The velocity. If you throw it 99 miles an hour down the middle every time, they're gonna hit it out of the park, no doubt about it. It's all about like when you throw in a changeup or your off-speed pitches. When you throw in something that throws them off, that's when. So instead of just saying velocity, well, like you love velocity. Why does a guy that throws 99 and has a 90-mile-an-hour curveball, why is he better than a guy that throws 89?
Because of the difference in the speed between 99 and 90.
And the mistakes and the mistakes they make at 99 and 90 is the difference. But like now, Zach Gallen's my perfect example of some guy that didn't throw upper 90s, through 92, 93 successful. But when he came up, he got to 95, 96, and that played up his off-speed stuff, which is fantastic. Because every scouting report you look at now, it either says, well, he's got upper 90 stuff, so his other stuff's good, or they'll say, oh, he's got low 90s, his stuff better be good, or his velocity's not going to be good enough to keep him as a top-of-the-line rotation guy. That's where they look at it now. I think it's 90, 94, 95 is the mark they look for now.
Yeah.
As considered a frontline starter compared to, a back end 3 or 4.
Douglas or Malpal?
I was going to say what he said. I was moving to my backyard, but it is the thing. It's like at the higher speeds, your mistakes aren't as bad. When you're at the lower speed, you make a mistake, you wind up having a 5-run game. You make a mistake at 99, you let up 1 home run. That's a big difference. Like
Shohei's the perfect example. Shohei throws 97, 98, upper almost 100 on some pitches. He throws a low 80 or high 80s, low 90 split, and a 72-mile-an-hour curveball. That's a very good mixture to have. But if he threw a 90-mile-an-hour fastball, that splitter and that curveball wouldn't be as effective. That upper 90 is the difference. Now, there's not many people that throw upper 90s like he does in the 90 to 100, but
yeah, they do. They do all the time.
Well, consistently.
More than you think.
Garrett Cole is one of the rare ones that can gain speed late in the game. I don't know how he does it, but or Jake. Did anybody see Jake DeGrom in the minor leagues start yesterday or the day before?
Yeah.
Oh my God, are you kidding me?
Did you read the tweets from the team that he was playing against? They were writing messages. Yeah, give us mercy as he struck out 8 out of 9. Yeah, they were.
Dude,
and they had Noah Syndergaard to start before.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They have Syndergaard in.
Well, they're probably eating very good because I know for sure that DeGrom bought food for twice.
Okay. I wonder why they chose to send him to St. Lucie and not this whatever their team is, Wilkes-Barre or Syracuse, wherever they normally. Why didn't they go to AAA?
They could have sent him to Binghamton.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's a weird choice.
Does it matter?
Well, it matters a little bit. I don't know how they get around it, but it's like the teams that are AA and lower are on a different COVID protocol than the majors. So it's supposed to be a problem getting people from AA or lower right to the majors. So
what do you mean protocol? The COVID protocol?
Yeah, the COVID protocols at AAA are exactly the same as the COVID protocols in the majors. So a person can call for AAA with no problem. Same with the alternate site games.
Well, what's the problem at the other places?
Well, I don't know, but theoretically, if you're playing by the COVID rules that MLB agreed to, he should come up, be put on the COVID list until he gets 2 positive tests, which is a weird thing to do. You know what I mean? Unless there's something I don't know about, like maybe that because they're 85% cleared, they don't have to follow that anymore. That might be the case, but it was one of those things where before the season we were told that when you're looking at prospects, you shouldn't be looking at the 2A guys. Look at the 3A guys.
It just doesn't seem like they're doing that though.
Well, he's the only. Those are the only two notable guys that have been sent to A ball. Everyone else gets sent to AAA.
So they could just come right up from AAA, right? Was DeGrom in AA? Is that what you're saying? He was in AA.
Yeah.
He's in A ball.
He was in A-ball. They sent a tweet out and said, "No, DeGrom is throwing 102 in the end of the game."
I've been to that
Holy
stadium in
shit.
St. Lucie. It's a nice
What is
stadium.
He
Why
threw
is he
40
even out there? What happened?
That's the
42
question I have. Why is he there? Why not?
42 pitches, 4 innings, 8 strikeouts out of 9 batters.
But lots of food. Outback Steakhouse and Chick-fil-A, dude.
It is a nice stadium. I'll tell them that.
Yeah, it is a nice stadium.
DeGrom sounds like a really nice guy.
Yes, for sure.
Oh, you know what? DeGrom's from Florida. I forgot that. Yeah.
Whatever. He's the best pitcher in baseball right now, by far. There's no question.
Maybe they did it as a favor to him. It's like you can be near your family kind of thing. That's what I'm thinking.
Potential closers. Let me just roll through a couple of these, okay?
Okay.
What about TJ Antone on Cincinnati since the other two can't get the job done? And this guy, I'm not kidding. He is going to be in and out. He's going to be weaving in to the bullpen and getting all. He's potentially a starter.
Yeah, they view him as a starter long term.
But they're giving him staying, letting him go, and he's the effector right now. And he freaking. This is a guy that I'm pretty sure this is it. We're talking about he wanted to throw 100 miles an hour, and he has been trying to throw 100 miles an hour. And they did say that he threw 100 miles an hour one time or this time, like over the last couple of years. But he said it doesn't count because they were rounding up. Now he's hit 100 miles an hour. It was 100.7 miles per hour the other night. He's a good pitcher, though. And it seems,
who's got the last save for the Reds?
Isn't it him?
No, it's Heath Hembry.
Holy shit.
That team is screwed up when it comes to going for saves. I have no doubt in the world that TJ Antone is their best, most talented relief pitcher, but they're throwing it all around the place. And I think that
he was hurt to start the season, though. That's why he.
You throw this out too. Is that Amir Garrett is probably going to resurface at some level in the closing spot because the rumor is that he was tipping his pitches. He did something to change, and if you look at his last 4 starts, he's been as lights out as he was in the spring training. You know,
he's a lefty though, dude. He's a lefty.
He's a guy with. He's a lefty, really? I thought Sims was a lefty, but they had 2 lefties, huh?
No, Garrett's
No. Sims is a righty.
left-hander.
What about Tyler Chatwood in Toronto? Toronto is not as bad as they should be for all the injuries that they have to their bullpen. And Tyler Chatwood is this former.
You said Tyler Chatwood. That's all you had to say.
I know you don't like old. You don't like old.
No, I he's burned me in the past when I've owned him.
But he's not a starter anymore. Now he's a closer. Now he's a reliever now, like Michael Fulmer. They're better now.
Toronto has like 5 closers that, even though they're most of them are hurt.
Yeah, they're all hurt.
Yeah.
I think that I don't think that anyone's ever thought of Chatwood as a closer, Toronto Blue Jays included. Now, if they thought of him as a like even with these are the Cubs as a multi-inning reliever that could pitch effectively. You know,
the effector.
But I think that I've been watching the Blue Jays thing closely, and last week I said the guy after Fulmer that I go after is Dolis. Dolis had the 1 save opportunity, and he let up like 4 runs in a third of an inning. And so his ERA looks much worse than it actually is because it's really just he's had 2 bad outings this year, 1 horrific one, and that's why he's got a 5 ERA. I don't think that they're moving away from Dolis just yet.
He's not okay, but hold on a second though. Dolis is how old? Like 22? Is he like 22?
No, he used to pitch for the Cubs when he was 20. He's got to be like 27, 28.
Okay. Malpal, I haven't heard from you in a while, but Tyler Chatwood throws the ball 95 miles an hour. It's actually up from last year, but he's not he's a tried and failed starting pitcher that is succeeding in the bullpen. Does he ever? Look, Toronto, man, they're still doing so good with their bullpen. If you look at the reliever efficiency metric that they have from Fangraphs, they have I put a link in the rundown, but I'll put it in the chat room too. Like, you see that Toronto, no matter what, they just seem to be at the top of the list for their bullpen. Seems like they're good no matter what. They
have a good shot to win that division, not to bring up old topics, but they have a good shot to win that division.
No, that's true.
They do. Absolutely they do, for sure. What do you think, Malpal? Maybe Malpal's been.
Oh, he's
Malpal?
muted.
He's taking a nap.
No, he's muted.
He's talking, but we're not hearing.
Chatwood's Chatwood's a flavor of the month. He has a career of terrible control, and you can't be a good closer with lousy control. There's just, I mean, Mitch Williams maybe, but name another closer that's really had poor control. There's no way he's a closer that I would buy into. Take him at your
Okay,
own
good
risk.
answer. Totally good answer. Okay, here's my favorite one on the list, though. Hunter Harvey in Baltimore. He's coming back. He's coming back.
He's on a rehab assignment.
For how long?
And he's gonna.
For how long?
Early June, like June 3rd,
I know.
June 4th, somewhere in there.
He's the future.
When's he go back on the DL?
Why? Do you think he gets hurt a lot? He's pretty young, isn't he? Hunter Harvey?
Yeah,
he's hurt every year.
I think.
Oh, shit, he's 26.
I'd look for a guy.
Wow.
I mean,
Yeah, we're getting old.
He spent 2 years getting hurt.
Baltimore
Yeah,
just
dude.
throws whatever sticks to the wall. I wouldn't be surprised if a guy like, what's his name, Paul Fry or someone like that, who's a veteran, they go to him. And if the first guy who get 3 guys out in the ninth will probably be their closer for a week.
I don't fully understand why they're going away from Cesar Valdez. He's only let up 4 runs this year. 4.
They need an effector, dude. They need a right-handed bullpen guy.
Yeah, but from fantasy standpoint, we're looking at saves. That's not the guy.
Right, but Valdez is, my guess on that is he's like their best bullpen guy, right? And
yeah,
he's going to be an effect, because if you've watched their games over the last 2 weeks, the Baltimore games, I have, because I'm pretty invested in a dynasty league with some of these guys. They have blown up. Their bullpen has blown up in the 6th and 7th innings.
Yeah, they have
every
a
game
huge
in the last 2 weeks.
Exactly. That's why they're trying to replace Valdez, dude.
They want.
But
I mean, the truth is, his stuff is nothing special.
Up,
it's like
he's a 36-year-old rookie, right? But their bullpen is so bad. I mean, they give up runs by the dozens.
Yeah.
In the 6th and 7th inning in the last couple of weeks. So I think they're moving them there to try and get out of those situations to bridge them to the 9th inning so that they have a chance.
I mean, Hunter Henry's probably or Hunter Harvey's got
to him.
Unbelievable stuff. Like, his stuff is very good, but he's hurt. He was a starter. Hopefully this works, but his stuff's good. I think that's why they're probably wanting him in the closer role.
Who's that?
Hunter Harvey.
If you listen to what Malpal was saying, if he's got really good stuff, and Cesar Valdez doesn't, but has been effective as a closer, it would probably be better for the Orioles to let him pitch an inning and a half, maybe 2 innings somewhere in the middle.
I just think Valdez is one of those guys. I'm guessing Valdez is one of those guys that can pitch more than 1 inning because he throws like 88 miles an hour.
Correct.
So I think you got to watch those games, those Baltimore games over the last couple of weeks, and you can see why they're doing this. They've been awful. I mean, it's
horrible,
dude.
Like
a high school pitcher out there when they're bringing out.
Okay, what about hold on, I just had a closer. Hansel Robles. You like Minnesota already has 2 closers, so you do not think of him as a closer, but I think he is.
I think Robles is I think whatever role Colome had, he played himself out of, and Robles has played him into that. And meaning Taylor Rogers will probably get a save or 2 in there, but he's going to be their 66% of the time closer. He's the righty, and he's good.
The only bullpen that's worse than the Orioles is the Twins. And,
no, the Rockies are horrible.
And Robles is well.
The Diamondbacks are horrible. Those are the 2. Rockies and Diamondbacks are the worst 2 in the league as far as I'm concerned. They're so bad, I don't even want their closers. You know, I would play the Tigers closer. I would play the Orioles closer. I would not play the Arizona.
Would you play the Twins? Would Would you play
Yeah,
the Twins?
I would play I would play both Robles or Rogers. I would not do Colomate.
Mitchell.
Okay, my closer.
Hey, Mitchell.
Yes,
Who's on the wall? Who's singing behind you?
Billie
I've
Holiday.
been to your house. You know I've been to your house.
I know you have. That's Billie Holiday.
Okay, good.
Estevez. E-S-T-E.
Emilio.
I don't know his first name, but I've got the Rockies game in, and
Carlos Estevez.
he's coming in to close the game instead of Bard. He's coming in right now.
He's their most talented pitcher, but like I said, as much as I like Carlos Estevez, I'm still not gonna. I'm not really, unless I'm really desperate, rostering a Rocky closer. Last guy who closed for Rockies that I had on my team was Hudson Street, and that was 15 years ago.
I'm thinking of trading Blake Snell for George Springer.
That guy's name is Houston Street.
What do you think?
Was it really Houston? I thought it was Hudson.
Trading
I
who?
don't know.
Houston.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Houston.
I could be wrong.
Hey, who are you trading? I just dumped Lourdes Gurriel right to the waiver.
I'm thinking of trading Blake Snell for Springer.
Do it.
I would do that.
Hold on. What do you mean you'll do that?
You know, Lourdes Gurriel is hitting 400 over the last 10 games.
Yeah, he's
Hold on a second. Springer's not even healthy, Mitchell.
And
Springer.
Snell's not very good. It's a pretty good deal.
Snell got racked for 5 runs in 3 innings tonight.
You get a top 50 hitter when healthy for a middle of the road pitcher. Pretty good deal.
I'm not taking it. I'm not me, not Andrea, but that's just me. I understand why you would. What about Lourdes Gurriel? You're talking it now, Malpal. I do not appreciate it at all.
He's come around a little bit. He's come around a little bit.
You want to know why he is? Because I threw him away.
He always has
he
been
is.
a closer. He's only hot because I cut him in the league 2 weeks ago. I did it for everybody. I took the blame.
Well, you didn't tell me, so I dropped him for the sake of you guys.
I mean,
I took one for the team.
What round did you take him in? I'm curious.
Lourdes?
You remember?
In the top 10 rounds.
Yeah, it was like
He's in the top 10 rounds.
7th round in a 12 team.
Fucking asshole. He bats at the bottom of the order. He's useless. Sorry, he's useless. So is his friend Biggio.
In that league, I got kind of lucky with a couple of pickups.
That's pace. You invest a top 10 pick in a guy. This is why I was preaching last week about cutting people in May that you spent some good money on.
Like I said, it was a function.
Yeah, but how long do you hold on to them when they suck? How long do you hold them? Like, what's he going to do for me if I continue to?
May.
My favorite part of the whole year so far.
Yeah, I cut him on May 10th.
What about Adolis Garcia?
That's what I was going to say. It's like in that league, I picked up Adolis Garcia and Alex Kirilloff, and so my outfield was pretty full, and I have one bench spot for one hitter. You know, of all the rest of bench spots have to be pitchers, and it's just tough.
I wouldn't have dropped him if it wasn't a deep league, but like I dropped Joey Wendell the same time I dropped Lourdes Gurriel, and I had to spend $70 to get him back last night. But everybody else bid on him too. I had to bid. I was not about to lose.
Well, do you know what the second highest bid was? It's always
It was like $23 or something. It was not even close. But you get 1,000, and I'm worth. I say Joey Wendell is worth it. I'm not. I'm sick and tired. I dropped these guys, and then I go up against a dude that just picked him up after me, and I get beat because of these fools, like Adam Wainwright. And
before we get off of here, I got to hear your Luis Castillo argument to keep him still. I've been on here 3 weeks, and I'm just trying to figure out.
You're stirring the pot, Joe.
Wait a minute. What did you say the date was, Malpal? What date? May what?
Usually it's Memorial Day, right?
May what?
I said Memorial Day. June 1.
When is that?
June 1 is when
May
teams
31st.
figure out if they're going to contend or not.
I refuse to throw Luis Castillo away. I will bench him, and I will not get rid of him because I cannot even imagine the feeling of watching someone else pick him up for nothing. Nobody's going to trade for him right now. You either bench him or you throw him away, and I'm not throwing him away. I don't care what, but he's not active. 2 starts, he's not active. I don't know if he had 2 starts this past week or 2 starts this week, but he's on the bench. He's horrible.
I just had to keep the tradition of hearing about him alive for 3 weeks.
What do you want to do?
There you
What,
go.
you don't like him? None of you believe in him.
If I wouldn't cut Wainwright for Perez, I definitely wouldn't cut Luis Castillo for Perez. That's what's out there. There's not much.
No, but I would try to move him if I can get anything for him.
Oh, I would definitely entertain trades. But I in one league where I have Francisco Lindor, who's doing fairly poorly, he's been on the trading block for 3-4 weeks. Crickets, nothing from anybody. No one's interested in Lindor.
Why don't you make some offers, though?
I made some offers, too, and they've been just rejected without notice.
Yeah.
They probably, what kind of offers
Those are my
making?
favorite.
What are you trying to get back? Like,
I wasn't trying to get much. I was trying to get like a top 150 outfielder.
Like Bobby Dow back, dude. You could get Bobby Dow back.
Oh yeah, that's horrible. No, I was trying for a little more than that. Yeah, like a guy that's gonna play 60 games this year. Yeah, I want something more than that. I was trying to get like an injured average outfielder. You know, a guy in that 120. I'm trying to think of somebody that was coming like a Michael Brantley or a Lorenzo Cain kind of guy. You know.
So I think next week the topic should be trade questions and what do you do with your injured players? Because we're getting to that point.
Injured.
No,
No,
if you're
I've cut a lot of them. I've cut Luis Robert. I've cut Zach Gallen. I've cut a lot of these guys just for space. You know.
I mean, I play in a dynasty where I can only do 2. I have Trout, Robert. I have Soroka, Luzardo, Sale, Gonzalen. I had Trevor.
No, you can't.
I had Trevor May. I had to cut.
That's reasonable.
You can't have all those if you only have 2 injured spots. You can't have all those. There's no way.
You got your
but I can't drop. I can't drop Luis. I can't drop Luzardo with 3-year keepers. I'm not dropping Trout.
Mitchell.
I can't drop Soroka.
Are you Mitchell?
You could drop Soroka.
What?
3-year.
What?
Just saying hi.
Oh, okay.
Hi, Mitchell.
You guys have unlimited DL. It seems like the older people that have been playing around for a long time, the unlimited DL is a thing.
That's
I
weird.
wish we had. We tried to fight for more DL spots. I even tried to fight to get I tried to get a COVID spot for just the stupid 10-day COVID that we have to deal with.
Like that
for when they leave for 2 days, and that got blocked.
The IL positions have killed the player pool. There's nobody out in the pool for waiver wire pickup.
That's why there should be a limit. It should be high, but it's there. But like he reads off his injured guys, and I have no pity for Chris Sale. Don't get me wrong. I own him I have him in a league too. But you drafted an injured guy. You cannot complain about him being injured.
No, I'm not complaining about it being injured, but I can't. And then I also have Machado who's missed 4 days. I have Bryce Harper who's on, I think, 3 in a row now. 3 in a row. So yeah.
Chris Sale is.
Speaking of injuries,
Grisham.
Speaking of injuries, Trent Grisham's on the DL. So
Ooh.
Oh, God.
Did Marte go on there? Or wait.
I got screwed out of Jerks and Profile and Fab this week, and now that Grisham's on the DL, that hurts more.
He's Profile starting in center.
Okay, you guys, it's so nice. Baseball Roundtable Monday is fun.
Okay.
Good night to the chat room. It's great talking to you, Mel, Pal, Mitch, Joe, Andrew.
Great talking to you later, bitches.
Same here.
Okay.